This second video demonstrates how to create a new and separate industrial sector in IMPLAN. In this case, we're going to introduce a local food sector. IMPLAN is an input-output modeling system that we often use for impact analysis of local foods and lots of other types of industrial studies. But sometimes the sectors that are in IMPLAN don't adequately reflect the scenario that we're trying to study. Now we can modify IMPLAN, it's very easy to do, and we can introduce a new sector into the modeling system. This exercise will show us the basic steps for doing that, and how to also import a set of production coefficients and to modify those coefficients if we need to accommodate our new sector. I'm using Kane County, Illinois as my demonstration county. Working with local planners in 2013 in Kane County, Illinois, we looked at the possibility of local production of a bundle of fruits and vegetables. And again, this is local production for local and regional demand. We developed a scenario that had 24 fruits and vegetables that experts in the region, producers in the region, thought that they could produce competitively. After quite a bit of analysis, considering productivity in the region, the amount of acres that would be required for all of the different fruits and vegetables, it was determined that 2,496 acres would be required to produce this bundle of fruits and vegetables. And the farm value of that bundle of fruits and vegetables sold at wholesale would be $10.9 million. For this exercise, though, we're going to set 1,000 acres as our baseline production level, and all of our coefficients are going to be driven off of that 1,000 acre assumption. To produce this bundle of fruits and vegetables on 1,000 acres would require, in Kane County, 21 jobs, paying worker earnings of $552,520, proprietors' earnings of $628,068, other property income of $348,031, and then taxes on production and imports, the last element of value added, was a minus $25,206. Now these values are negative in the IMPLAN model, and we're just going to use their IMPLAN negative values because agriculture receives quite a bit of public subsidy, federal subsidy, and those subsidies oftentimes are greater than their estimated taxes on production and imports. And finally, then, in producing fruits and vegetables off of 1,000 acres of production, it would yield $4.35 million in total fruit and vegetable sales. To create our new local food sector in our model, we go to a built model here of Kane County. We go down to the Customize tab and then to the Study Area Data. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to pick a sector that we want to use. And we usually pick an unused sector. In this case, I'm going to choose tobacco farming. And I'm going to click on tobacco farming. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to rename this industry. And I'm going to call it local foods. I next need to enter in the values for my local food sector. Those values come from the slide that I just showed. We're going to ignore the existing fruits and vegetables sectors in the Kane County model, and we're going to create a local food sector. Now, there are only three things that are involved with this. First, I've already done this. I've chosen an unused sector in IMPLAN, and I've renamed it. Next, I'm going to insert the job, output, and value-added numbers into that sector. And then finally, I'm going to replace that substituted sector's production coefficients with those that would align with my new sector. I'm going to replace the tobacco production coefficients with coefficients that reflect fruits and vegetables production. We're back now to the screen that we're going to modify. I'm going to enter in first the output value. And again, remember, it's per 1,000 acres of production of this bundle of fruits and vegetables. And that number was $4,349,236. Next, I need to add in employee compensation. That was $552,521. Proprietor's income was $628,068. Other property income was $348,031. And taxes on production and imports were a negative $25,206. Now up above, I'm going to put in the employment. And the employment was 21 jobs. I'm going to enter that in. and I'm going to then push update. And after you push update, it's always good to go back and check your values to make sure they're exactly what was entered. 21 jobs, $4.349 million worth of output. In this case, it was the estimated value of wholesale sales. This is the correct employee compensation, proprietors' incomes. The elements of value added are correct. I have $1.5 million worth of value added and $2.85 million worth of intermediate expenditures. When we're done creating this new sector, we have to now save it. And so you click the Save button. And when you click the Save button, you'll look to the lower left-hand side of the screen and you'll see a message that says, your IMPLAN model has been changed and you will need to reconstruct your model. To reconstruct your model, go up to Options, click Construct, and we're going to rebuild this model all the way through the multipliers. While this model is rebuilding, we've introduced our local foods sector. Now I'm going to have one more step. I could have done it just now, but I'm going to do it separately in just a second and then rebuild the model again. And I'm going to show you how to export and then import a set of production coefficients that we'll use for our local foods sector. Now that the model has been rebuilt, we need to import some production coefficients for our new industry. We're going to go down to the Customize section. We're going to go to Industry Production. Now what I want to do here is I want to get production coefficients to replace the ones that were in my local food sector. Remember, I use the tobacco sector. I have tobacco sector production functions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and choose the vegetables and melon farming functions. They're closest to what I want. I'm going to go up here to Options. I'm going to go to Library, and I'm going to Export. And I'm going to export and I'm going to give them a name. Now, here's a trick here. You need to leave a number in front of this. So in this case, leave the 3 there, but I'm going to call it my local foods, and hit OK. And it's going to export those functions into that name, and I'm going to be able to use them. Once they've been exported, then I go down to my local food sector, click on local foods, and what I want now to do is to go to my library, import, and I'm going to import that sector 3 space local foods. I'm going to import that sector and replace the tobacco production functions with a local foods set of production functions. It'll give you a warning. Yes, I want to permanently replace. Finally, now that these new production functions have been imported, we can modify these. These are expressed as the amount of expenditures per dollar's worth of output or sales in my local foods. Let's do this. We're going to click on the coefficient. Click it once and it sorts from smallest to highest, and we can click it again and it sorts from highest to lowest. And we can see the different dependencies this industry, or the local foods industry, has on different sectors in the economy. The number 1 is agriculture and forestry support services. So they're going to be buying agricultural inputs. They're going to need refined petroleum products, of course, that's fuel. Now, if you were an organic operation and it says pesticides and other agricultural chemicals, you would want to perhaps change this and zero it out or lower it down. If, for example, you're renting your land, this may or may not be the right coefficient. It may be higher, it may be lower. Fertilizers, again, this is a sector that you may want to modify. If you're using mostly organic fertilizers that you're buying from some other farmer, then you want to disconnect from the industrial fertilizer sector and maybe reconnect to a farm sector. Banking, electricity, etc., etc. Maybe you get your seeds from other farmers. You see what's going on here. These are completely modifiable, and once you modify them, you can then rebalance your model. And of course, like we did several times before here, we have to rebuild our model, and that's what we have to do right now, because after I imported those production functions, we get the message down on the left that we need to reconstruct our model. I'm going to do that again. Options, Construct, all the way through multipliers. Now our model has been rebuilt, and we can look at the area data, the study area data, and we can see that our local food sector has been entered into the model. We have put in the right production coefficients, and this model is now ready to do scenarios of local foods change in my region. So we now have a dedicated local food sector in our Kane County model. And because I set that baseline at 1,000 acres of production, it is easy to scale this up or down because IMPLAN is essentially linear. The local foods multipliers have been localized and calibrated to your area, and they've been adjusted, and they reflect that local foods relationship with the rest of your regional economy. And you're now ready to begin doing your local foods impact analysis with your brand new local foods sector that you inserted into the model all by yourself.